All right, top of the morning to you on March 17th, 2020. This will be our first day of video notes for our hiatus at a school. I plan to post a couple videos a day, try to go through and I'm going to go through the notes kind of quick for my own sake. I can't sit here and do a lot of long, detailed notes, but I'm going to post the PowerPoints on Moodle page. I suggest that you follow along with the Moodle page. I'm going to finish up Unit 11 today because that's what y'all are going to do on Monday anyway, and also post the test. I'll post the test for a few days, let you kind of figure it out, hopefully, and then I'll come behind it maybe on Thursday or Friday and post the answers. But I highly recommend you try to take the test as normal as possible, just kind of see where you are. I can't grade at this point, so don't worry about retaking the test or something like that. So I'm going to post the test, and I'll keep posting daily video notes, but I'm going to keep doing this until we get to late April. And sometime in late April, we're going to start having a review, but just don't throw away your entire year of research and, doing all these notes and everything else. Make sure that you take this seriously and hopefully get the test done. But anyway, so that's where we're going to start today with our notes. So we're going to go back to Meiji Restoration. I'll just kind of recap that. And again, if it's something I'm not doing well, please send me an email or shoot me an email. Let me know, and I can try to make adjustments for these video notes. All right, so I'm just going to reread Meiji Restoration one more time, so and then make sure we're in good shape. And this will actually complete the imperialism part of this unit. And we got to cover up some. We got to cover some intellectual things before we close out, and that'll be it. All right, Meiji Restoration. So a debate in Japan developed how to protect itself against industrialized powers and keep Japanese culture. This debate led to an overthrow of the government, 1868, and a new emperor, Meiji, M-E-I-J-I. This removed power from the shogunate warlords, the Tokugawa shogunate to be exact, that had ruled Japan for centuries. So they returned power to the emperor and to this new imperial government. So it returns to a practical imperial rule. Japan then sends officials to Europe and to America to learn how to grow strong enough to protect itself. The government will build schools, factories, railroads, and a navy like the British and an army like the Germans. So they're going to adopt a lot of foreigners to come into Japan and influence them. So they're going to bring in British guys to help develop their navy better and German guys to help make their army better. Its modern military helped Japan win wars against China and the Russians. As we don't really talk about it, but the first Sino-Japanese war takes place in the 1890s, right before the Spheres of Influence and Boxer Rebellion. And then, of course, we know about the 1904-1905 Russo-Japanese War. So Japan was able to win a lot in both those wars because of their modernization. Japan also will learn that it needs colonies to obtain more power. So it formally seizes Korea in 1905. Korea becomes one of its colonies in 1905, and they begin to get interested in taking over more and more territories moving forward. So this was their first step in creating a permanent Eastern Asian empire that they're going to start developing here around 1900, which of course will culminate in World War II in the 1930s and 40s, but they begin to expand themselves here under their emperor and imperial government in 1905 with Korea. And of course, it's having spheres of influence in China too. So that actually wraps up the phase of imperialism within this unit. And what we're going to do now is move on to the next slide, which we're looking at some intellectual and cultural thought. Keep in mind, this unit's also wrapping up period 3, so you're going to be seeing period 4 stuff start later this week. And I'll try to post the key concepts again there too. That's another big thing too for review moving forward, is that please stick to key concepts. My notes will do their best to stick to key concepts as well. But in terms of review, don't get overwhelmed. Just do a lot of key concepts review. Okay, modernism in intellectual and cultural life. So realism was most influential during the Victorian period, meaning under Queen Victoria in the late 1800s in Great Britain. A strict set of morals and social conventions. So in this time period, there was a high sense of morals and social conventions. In reaction to those limits, the modernism movement embraced industrialization, social change, and scientific achievement. So in reaction to those limits, modernism movement embraced industrialization, social change, and scientific achievement. Modernists pioneered new ideas in psychology and political theory. So modernists pioneered new ideas in psychology and political theory. So we're going to first look at irrationalism. The philosophy of irrationalism moved beyond rational interpretations of humans and their surroundings to focus instead on their impulses. So the philosophy of irrationalism moved beyond rational interpretations of humans and their surroundings to focus instead on their impulses. Irrationalists believed that conflict and struggle led to progress, and suggested that life did not need to be explained only by rational methods of science, but also by the spirit. So irrationalists believed that conflict and struggle led to progress, and suggested that life did not need to be explained only by rational methods of science, but also by the spirit. Irrationalists explored humans' biological roots through evolution. So irrationalists also explored humans' biological roots through evolution too. So here's some of your irrationalists. First is Friedrich Nietzsche. He's a German who questioned the fundamental cultural values of Western philosophy and morality. So this German, and this is a guy who you see show up a lot too on a lot of the tests as far as a guy from this late era, Friedrich Nietzsche. He was a German who questioned the fundamental cultural values of Western philosophy and morality. He's a guy right here with this funky mustache you see right here, the first one. He influenced a wide range of artists and politicians with his examination of how individuals can lead meaningful lives. So he influenced a wide range of artists and politicians with his examination of how individuals can lead meaningful lives. He criticized Christianity and democracy for empowering mediocrity of the sheep-like masses. So he criticized Christianity, or like organized religion in general, and democracy for empowering mediocrity of the sheep-like masses. So, don't go out there and just follow on with everybody else. You should have strong leadership and have your strong ideals for yourself. Then you have Georges Sorel. Georges Sorel, the guy next to him with the white beard. French philosopher who argued that social change required action. His ideas were later used by dictators to support totalitarian action. So he's a French philosopher who argued that social change required action. His ideas were later used by dictators to support totalitarian action. He founded syndicalism, Syndicalism, syndicalism. He advocated the direct action of the proletariat to bring about the destruction of the bourgeoisie. He advocated the direct action of the proletariat to bring about the destruction of the bourgeoisie. He proclaimed violence as was good, no matter what the end was. So he proclaimed that violence was good, no matter what the end was, because it helps kickstart change, and he says violence is the best form of that. So violence helps to kickstart change. All the French Revolution, so he supported it. Then you have Henri Bergson, another French philosopher who emphasized change and evolution. So Henri Bergson emphasized change and evolution. He inspired a group of thinkers known as process metaphysicians. Metaphysicians is M-E-T-A, physicians, P-H-Y-S-I-C-I-A-N-S, metaphysicians. He believed personal experience and intuition were more important than rational thought and thinking. So he believed that personal experience and intuition were more important than rational thought and thinking. Okay, so that's your irrationalist. Now we're looking at natural sciences. So natural science developed such as quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of relativity. So you had developments in natural sciences such as quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of relativity undermine the physics of Newton as an objective way to describe nature. So basically, guys like Einstein and these ideas of quantum mechanics help undermine some of the old established scientific theories like Isaac Newton, that not everything is rational or always explained exactly the way it should be. Like there's some science out there that is ever developing or hard to understand or know. So developments in natural sciences such as quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of relativity undermine the physics of Newton as an objective way to describe nature. Modern scientists place human thought and presence at the center of the practices. So modern scientists place human thought and presence at the center of their practices. So I'll do the first guy, then we'll take a break and go to the next video. first guy is Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, which you see right here with the stogie in his hand. He's an Austrian neurologist who founded psychoanalysis. That's his claim to fame, is that he discovered this process of psychoanalysis. So, Austrian neurologist who discovered psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is a therapeutic technique related to the study of the unconscious mind. So, it's a therapeutic technique related to the unconscious mind, related to the study of the unconscious mind. Freud's work helped create psychology as an independent discipline. So, he's often considered to be the father of psychology because his work helped create psychology as an independent discipline, separate from either philosophy or neurology. So, it's separate from philosophy or neurology. Psychoanalysis led to investigations of human behavior that gradually revealed the need for more subtle methods of analysis. So psychoanalysis led to the investigations of human behavior that gradually revealed the need for more subtle methods of analysis. Freud also delved into the human psyche and wrote about the power of irrational motivations in humans' ongoing struggle between the conscious and unconscious parts of the mind. So Freud also delved into the human psyche and wrote about the power of irrational motivations ongoing and the human's ongoing struggle between the conscious and unconscious parts of the mind. If you look more into it, you have what's called like the id, which is basic. Everybody's like just basic animal forces. You have the ego and superego that help kind of control that. So he talks about these forces in your mind that are either controllable or not controllable, conscious or unconscious, that we have to always balance as a human being, and that's what he talks about in a lot of his work and his theories and studies. So that's Sigmund Freud. So we'll stop the first video there.